This is Colin Baker speaking, the Sixth Doctor, but you are the lucky ones because you are travelling the Vortex.
Trekkin across the universe. On the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk. Star Trekkin across the universe. Slowly going forward 'cause we can't find reverse.
We've joined Amphimenos as his planet tries to join the Federation and arrive at episode number 232. I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
Space, the final frontier. These are the continuing voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life forms and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
I just felt like you needed to do it since that's kind of your genre, so.
That was the Spock version.
I liked it.
Thank you.
You did a very good job.
Gruff version.
How are you guys?
Good.
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Me too. I'm good. I'm not tired. I'm just good.
Just good?
Just good.
Good and tired?
Good and tired. No, just good. Not overly tired.
Fine. I've been fine. I've been dandy. Never fine and dandy. Once, on a Tuesday, I think I was fine and dandy. Nobody asked me.
Did you guys have a good week?
I did. Mostly. kind of had a good week, and then had a not-so-good week, and then had a pretty good weekend. So.
What'd you do, Sean?
Get the bad news out of the way first.
We were meeting up with some friends Thursday night. We were going to go see Jurassic Park in Lawrence. They were doing an outdoor film, come have dinner on Mass Street and vendors and this and that and the other thing. And, Jurassic Park on a, I assume, screen of some sort out in front of the library. And we thought, yeah! And very quickly got information that, no, it's going to rain. Which,
Not just going to rain, it's going to storm.
for those of you who have lived here in the Midwest with us, it's rained a lot. I've started construction on an ark in the backyard because...
What's a cubit?
30 cubic. What's a cubit?
How long can you tread water? Ha, ha, ha. I'm just hedging my bets a little bit, But so we instead decided, well, we'll go out to eat and then we'll come back here and watch Jurassic Park. And so the kids went downstairs because we were all going to be up here. And, I don't know, we got just to the point where Nedry was, absconding with the eggs in the middle of the hurricane when Katrina comes upstairs and says, Grandma, I step in water. And we were like...
For the record, it was probably storming here as heavy as it is in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, like you couldn't tell.
Or heavier.
You turn the surround sound off and it's still going. But we kind of went, yeah, okay, whatever. And then something triggered that alarm bell in Mel's head and she went downstairs and stepped on a wet carpet. It was like, oh... We came running downstairs and started yanking all the computer equipment and unplugging everything. And Billy and I went outside, and the yard was flooded. There's so much standing water because there's just nowhere else for it to go, and it was filling up the window well. Like you could literally see it in the window well. So I'm out there in my Dennis Nedry, little hooded thing with a bucket and bailing out my window well and trying to get water out of the yard. And all I can think of is, you can do it, Dennis. You're almost there. You still got time. Save the equipment. And then I was attacked by a Dilophosaurus, and the rest of the weekend kind of sucked. But no, we got everything aired out. Spent all of Thursday night into Friday morning dealing with that, and had fans going, and rented a rug doctor, and sucked all the water out of the basement, and just had to move all the furniture and all the things. The only thing we think at this point that we actually lost is some of the artwork that we'd bought at a couple of different cons. Was all sitting in various stages of framed, to be framed, needs a bigger frame, blah, blah, blah. And it was all kind of sitting right there at the base of the stuff, and some of it did get wet.
Oh, no.
But we're hoping that it'll kind of dry out and be okay. So I don't think any of it was ruined, but definitely got some water
You're
on
lucky
it.
you didn't have a lot more damage.
Oh, yeah, it could have been horrible. I could have lost
ruined.
computers and, books and...
Xbox and TV and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. So that was the Friday.
Do you have any water in your basement?
We didn't.
I was going to call you.
Knock on wood.
How's your basement?
So lucky.
Actually, our basement was a lot better than it has been. Cleaning the gutters really made a huge difference, and I'm pretty sure now all the water that's coming into our basement is just because the soil is so oversaturated.
Yeah,
it's seeping through the
what
foundation.
happened for a lot of people is it's just coming in through the
And
foundation.
I can see a bunch of tiny little holes of where it's like just seeping through. So I don't know if I need to reseal the foundation in the basement or patch, fix it, or just hope it doesn't rain anymore.
Well, we're supposed to get more on Thursday.
It's going to be a long time coming. But compared to when I went and looked at the house with Sarah's parents and my dad and my stepmom, and there was a lot of water, and that was a couple days after a heavy rain, to it was downpouring and there wasn't a whole lot of water in our basement, just a little bit. It's been a huge improvement over everything that's been done on it. So we're feeling pretty lucky so far.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's still some gutter stuff I need to take care of, but relocating them more than anything else. Because one comes straight down. Because there's a window well and gutter on either side.
You're talking about a downspout.
Yeah, a downspout on either side, yeah. And it's right at the driveway. So you can't extend the downspout. I've got to turn one and bury it, or just turn one. And then the other one I'm going to try to string up somehow, figure out how to attach it to my carport and take it across the carport and down to the other side of the driveway. I think it's going to be the best way to solve it.
More gutter.
More guttering. What else did you do, Sean?
That was Thursday. Worked Friday. Had a disastrous Friday night. Because of all of that, came home and, the internet hadn't been plugged back in and had to put all the equipment back together and all that. And finally got through that and then couldn't find my copy of The Two Doctors because I thought maybe it had been relocated somewhere else. And so we panicked. But we did.
It had been.
It had been relocated.
It had been relocated to my house.
Not anywhere near where I thought it had been relocated to. It was stolen.
I didn't steal it. You loaned it to me. I just neglected to remember this week that you needed it back.
Well, and I neglected to remember that I had loaned it to you. So,
Loan what to me?
see, yes, have some. So that was a bit of an adventure Friday night, and then Saturday we left. Mel and I took off early and went down to Kansas City, and we just had kind of a date weekend. We got a hotel and then went to a concert and saw Huey Lewis in the News at the Sprint Center, which was awesome. And when we stuck around for the free Jimmy Buffett concert that happened afterwards, Huey was the opening act. But I like Jimmy Buffett, like I said. You can explain this to me because you're more of a buffet fan than I am. I genuinely, like I said, I get it. He embraces that island mystique, and that's cool, and people really gravitate toward that. But I really kind of feel like he's just a varying shade of Weird Al in some regards, because all of his songs were like, it's the guy sitting on a beach and he looked up and he went, tree. I could write a song about a tree. What do I write about the palm tree? No. Coconuts, yeah. And so he wrote a song about coconuts. And well, look, there's a shark out there in the water. Fins. Yeah, okay. How is that any different than, Cheeseburger in Paradise is Weird Al singing Eat It. It's the same thing.
Well,
but Jimmy gets airplay and Weird Al doesn't.
It's not as parody-ish as Weird Al.
No, but it's still a novelty song.
Weird Al,
it is novelty, but Weird Al can take situations and make them really funny, whereas I think Jimmy Buffett's are more observational, and I think Jimmy Buffett's the everyman that everybody can associate with and want to be because of the island life that he lives. So I think that's what people gravitate to, is the fact that, if I'm stuck in mid-America with no ocean, within 500,000 miles from me. Okay, not that many, but 500 miles from me.
Showcasing our knowledge of geography.
500 miles from me, I can live vicariously through his music, and I think that's what appeals to a lot of people. And again, he's the everyman. He's not out there singing about the riches of life, and he's not out there singing about poverty or unfairness or anything like that. He's singing about trees,
and he's given the flavor of the beach.
Yeah, and it's that whole laid back island life that I think people, they want to experience that as well.
Yeah, that must be it. I was really shocked at the wide variety. Like I said, I fully expected to see older people at this concert because Jimmy's been around forever. I remember listening to him growing up. My dad was a huge fan, but there were a lot of young kids there, a lot of 20-year-olds, a lot of just, and
The music's timeless, too. I
it really
doesn't-
is.
It doesn't
it just
date itself.
It just shocked me. I did not expect that at all. But so like I said, we had a good time with that, and then we went and met up with some friends for some of the Pride festivities that were going on that weekend in Kansas City. Oh. And exhausted ourselves, got back to the hotel, crashed, got up the next day, and we talked about maybe doing a movie, maybe going to maybe see San Andreas
Did you go
or
see
something.
it? Did you go see a movie?
I didn't go see
Then
a
why
movie.
are you talking about going to
Well,
see a
because
movie?
instead we went to IKEA.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what do you think of IKEA?
If I had a house that needed furniture, I think it'd be really cool. We went and kind of did the same thing. We took the Glen tour, parked downstairs, rode up the escalator, and walked, all the way through the showroom and everything. And, they've got some really cool lamps. I will say the one that you pull the rope and the thing expands. It looks like one of those. What are those called?
Chinese lanterns.
Well, it looks more like a geometric one of those.
The
ball.
What do they call that? Something helix. That
Oh,
up.
yeah.
You open up and it's all the. They had a lamp that did that,
Something
and you pull the other
helix.
thing and it closed down and it looked like the Death Star. And you pull it and it opened back up again. It was so cool.
Yeah.
But I have enough furniture. There was nothing there that I really went, oh my god, this is the best store ever.
Even moving into a
That's
house.
more of the-
the downside of IKEA is it's so for me at least it's so very modern furniture.
It is very modern furniture.
Modern furniture, or however you want to call it, and it won't fit in my house.
There's a lot of retro in there too. There's a lot of retro 70s stuff. It would look good in a paneled basement room with 70s retro look.
And I like that.
Perfect in my face.
It would go perfect in your house. I like that look a lot.
Hardly any of that would look good with my hardwood floors.
Yeah, I like that look a lot, but I've got.
The thing about
I'm pretty well
IKEA is
set.
you don't go there to look at the furniture. You go there just for the experience. It's such a different atmosphere. It's a different style of shopping.
And it's furniture that if you need it, it's a bit more affordable too.
Yeah,
you have to put it together yourself, but it's more affordable.
Yeah,
that's why it's more.
That's why it's more affordable.
Take it home in a box.
They don't even deliver it for you. You gotta
throw it in the back of your whatever you brought.
Pull it off the shelf yourself.
But so we did that and then came home and we did find while we were there what we are enjoying tonight, our British food item of the week. Even though I don't know if it's truly British or not. It's British in my
British
mind.
inspired.
It's inspired, obviously, by Harry Potter.
Is Flying Cauldron butterscotch beer, non-alcoholic.
It's delicious.
It is a butterscotch cream soda, and I cannot figure out where this is actually made or bottled at.
That's what I was just looking for.
I believe
L.A., California. Can't get any more English than that from the fine folks in L.A. And this it's
100% natural, gluten-free, dairy-free. It's delicious.
It's good.
It's dairy free.
That ends this commercial.
It promotes that on this somewhere. I saw. Hold on, I'm trying to find it again.
You could do far worse than to get yourself a bottle of
Is
Flying
that a
Cauldron
problem
butterscotch
now
brew.
today?
Some people
There's cream soda with, I guess, cream soda would
imply
that maybe there's dairy in it.
Yeah, right down here. Gluten-free, dairy-free, GMO-free.
Oh, I looked at gluten-free. I thought it said chicken-free. I was like, well, it's that too.
I'm pretty sure it's chicken. Well, it might not be chicken-free. I don't know.
100% natural. So
We found this at a
that
natural
still doesn't
grocers.
rule out chickens.
So
Doesn't rule out arsenic either, because that's natural.
Anyway,
It's delicious, Sean. Thank you for sharing
It is
it.
liquid gold in a bottle.
really is.
It's literally like liquid butterscotch, and it's awesome, and I'm very happy.
So you didn't get Jurassic Park watched. Did you watch anything else?
We did eventually because
did?
after I don't remember if it was before the fans or after at some point in time during the drying process we were like, well, we're going to be up anyway. You just want to go ahead and finish it. And the company had gone home at that point. So we were like, yeah. So we did watch Jurassic Park, and then Sunday night after we got home, we watched Lost World.
Oh,
So we only have one to go now.
you're a
Before
movie ahead of me.
We're in the same spot because Saturday we actually first of all went and saw Cinderella at
how was it?
the cheap theater. It's enjoyable. It's a good movie. It's Cinderella. I mean, it's Disney's version of Cinderella.
Is it better than Disney's version of Maleficent?
I haven't seen that.
Oh, that's right. You still haven't seen
it.
Now I'm in
Yes,
charge
yes,
to
yes,
see
yes,
it because
yes,
I want
yes,
to see
yes.
1,000 times yes from you.
But
because they didn't Maleficent it.
some Doctor Who crossovers.
And Game of Thrones.
Yeah, well, Hallie Atwell was in it, which I didn't recognize her at first because she's got blonde hair.
Yeah, which is ironic because in the first episode of Agent Carter, she puts on that blonde wig.
That's right. That's right. And then two masters, not just one, but two masters.
Eric Roberts?
No.
Oh.
Derek Jacobi plays the
King.
Jacobi plays the king. Yeah.
Is it Jacoby?
I don't know. I've heard it both ways.
I thought it was Jacoby.
And then I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the guy that plays the master in the Dark Eyes Big Finish audios is also in the movie.
Jeffrey Beavers. Gone now.
The name's not coming to me at all. Was also in it, so
But it was good?
yeah, enjoyed it. Enjoyed it a lot. So after that, we went home, and the kids and I fired up Jurassic Park because we were getting excited about seeing Jurassic World. Well, they're getting excited about seeing
I'm
Jurassic
excited about it.
And we watched that, and then the following day, we had intended to watch all three this weekend, but the following day we got around to watching Lost World Jurassic Park. And I think that's all I watched this week. I'm caught up with Game of Thrones, and
I'm not.
Up to last night's episode.
yep, and I finished Girls season 4. So
Oh.
this week
Where are you at on Clone Wars?
I haven't watched any, so still about 5 episodes in.
Okay, because I
6 maybe.
think I'm up to like episode 11 now.
Oh wow, okay.
And like
Starting to truck through.
it's cute and it's good and it's cute and it's good. It's cute and it's good. And then they do this episode, this like 2-parter where R2 is lost in space.
Yeah. I did get that far the first time.
Okay,
So, yeah.
and it was like, and I got really invested in, like this was a great episode because R2 was off doing things on his own and trying to be the hero and largely succeeding, not really needing rescuing.
Yeah.
And then the next episode was the one where they mistake Jar Jar for a Jedi, and I went, "You did a Jar Jar episode?"
They did it,
That's the first Jar Jar episode, and surprisingly, that's the weakest Jar Jar episode.
which is funny because I actually enjoy.
I did too.
Yeah,
that was the
that's-
real
yeah.
shock when I first saw the Netflix description. I was like, "Oh man!"
the
And
one
then
where
I
he
watched
pretends
it,
to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was like, "This is actually pretty good. It's fairly
Well,
enjoyable."
and later, when they bring Jar Jar back, he becomes even less of a comic foil. So, like, they actually start treating him like a serious character.
Huh.
Yeah.
Who knew?
So I always roll my eyes on it, the description of Jar Jar, but every time he comes back, I'm more impressed at how they handle him.
What impresses me is the fact that the Clone Wars did not ignore Jar Jar. They could have easily said, "Pfft,"
Yeah.
but they said,
Because
you know
Attack
what?
of the Clones.
Let's make
Kind of
Lessened it.
marginalized.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
They could say, they could have said, let's just really do Jar Jar some justice, and make him decent.
So they big finished him.
They really did.
Now, he's still not my favorite character to
Oh,
start.
no.
They didn't redeem him, but, they redeemed him, but they didn't completely make him wonderful. But yeah, I quite enjoyed that first
They
Jar
didn't
Jar. I haven't
Sixth
seen the
Doctor and
second one.
Seventh Doctor.
Yeah.
We got Jurassic Park watched, and we didn't get the other ones watched, unfortunately. We had planned to, and it just didn't happen.
Are you going Sunday?
I don't know when we're going to go see it. We're going to go with my mom.
You're not going with the group then.
I hadn't heard anything about the group one.
They're apparently setting something up to
Go
try
buy
and
a
go, I
house
think,
and
to Alamo.
suddenly you're out of the group.
I get all this vicariously through Mel. I have no.
I didn't see anything.
There's
about
apparently
that.
a group thing to try and do
Well-
it on Sunday at Alamo Draft House. So
Oh, yeah, I don't know. If we like it enough, we might go again. We might go Saturday with my mom because she really wants to see it.
Is it open this next weekend?
This week.
This weekend.
this weekend.
Okay. I was thinking it was the following weekend. Okay.
So
if you're waiting for us to organize a Flicks with Friends, too late. You're on your own.
Well, if we did it tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, would be all right.
I'm watching 3 on Wednesday, so you better hurry up.
Sarah didn't remember Jurassic Park very well. She had seen it, but didn't remember it, and so she really liked the first movie. And I'm everything I've read about the new one, I'm convinced that it's not as important that she sees Lost World in 3 before seeing the
Probably
world.
not.
So we're probably going to go see it, and then hopefully that will spur her to want to watch the other 2, which she's never seen before.
Really?
Yeah. Despite my love of
I have only seen Lost World. This will be my third viewing.
I think I've even seen it more than that.
I didn't like it. I mean, no, that's not true. That makes it sound like I didn't like it. Jurassic Park, Lost World Jurassic Park was okay.
Yeah.
It's just...
It's
not
the weakest of the 3.
One,
Yeah.
yeah. And a lot of
book is
people say the
superbly
third
better.
movie is the weakest. No, that's
no,
a much
not
more.
at all.
That one feels more like Jurassic Park to me than Lost World does.
It's also more fun.
Yeah.
Lost World takes itself just a little too seriously. And I watched it again, really trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And I mean, the trailer scene is phenomenal. It's great. It's fantastic. But Lost World, really, what I came down on last night watching it was it's a paint-by-numbers sequel. Okay, what are the rules of a sequel? It's got to be more exciting. It's got to be more tense. It's got to be more. The body count's got to be higher. You've got to do this and this. And they went, okay. So the first movie, there's really only 5 deaths. For all of the fact that these dinosaurs are rampaging around, there's only 5 deaths.
Yeah, most people got on the boat.
There's only 5 deaths? Because in Lost World, they say there were 5 deaths.
Actually, they say he says responsible for the deaths of 3 people.
He's responsible for 3. But there were 2 other deaths.
Right. Well, and that's the guy at the beginning when they're loading the Velociraptor into the thing. I'm presuming that guy died.
Yeah.
We never really know what happens to him. It was just an accident.
Well, there's a lawsuit going on.
A lawsuit, and
You
with that
assume
worker.
he's dead.
I assume he
Yeah.
died. But he may have actually made it, in which case it's just a 4. And then I thought, well, why don't they? And I was, because they don't know what happened to Nedry. He just disappeared as far as they're concerned. But they do know about Samuel L. Jackson, the game warden, and
Muldoon.
Muldoon, and
The lawyer.
the lawyer. They know for a fact those 3 are
If
dead.
you listen closely, he says when he's talking to Hammond about him being responsible for 3 deaths, or that's when that's brought up. I don't remember who says it. When they're on the island later, Jeff Goldblum's character Malcolm says, there were 5 deaths. He talks about 5 deaths, so they do both. He talks about
did he
the 3
really? Okay, I must have missed
responsible,
that
and then
one the
later
second
he talks
time.
about there were, or somebody. I think it was Malcolm that was saying 5 deaths.
Okay. Well, at any rate, the body count in Lost World is much higher.
Oh, yeah.
They kill all kinds of people. So, okay, check box that. So, okay, what's scarier than a T-Rex? 2 T-Rexes. Okay. And so you get the whole thing with it, and it just feels very calculated to move you through those paces and do this kind of stuff. And it's a fine film. It's fine. There's a lot of, like, the ending. I know a lot of people hate the ending.
I'm not a fan of the ending.
I enjoy it. I like the fact that...
I appreciate what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
I just wish they wouldn't have dropped all the plots ahead of it to do it. Because I thought there was a lot of interesting stuff going on.
It's King Kong.
With the
it's
mercenaries.
really what
it's
it is.
Godzilla. That's why we get the shot of the Japanese guys.
But it's King Kong. It's to bring the monster to the mainland, and it breaks free and causes havoc. And
I just think there was more interesting stuff going on with the mercenaries, and then they drop it for the King Kong story.
Yeah, well, and something else that I picked up on
the other group
the guys that were working for
they
him.
were really mercenaries.
Something else that I
Mercenaries are in the 3rd film. Those guys are mercenaries.
Something else I picked up on this one that I never really thought about before is Roland, his character that Pete Poswell played. I love Pete Poswell.
The cast in Lost World's really good.
Oh, it's really good.
I've seen it so few times I forgot that Vince Vaughn was in it.
I know, isn't that weird? It's Vince Vaughn being an action hero, and it's Vince Vaughn from those movies, and here he is.
It's
Being
Vince
an
Vaughn,
action hero.
the other half of Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson was in the dinosaur suit. I'm sure Ben Stiller was in there as a raptor somewhere.
I knew Vince Vaughn before he teamed with Owen Wilson because he used to do films with who directed Iron Man?
John Favreau. They did Swingers.
Yeah.
In fact,
Swingers,
he was just
and
coming
he
off
did
Swingers,
he
I
did
think.
They did another movie together. I can't
Made.
remember what. Yeah, Made.
Yeah.
And then later on, they starred. This was much later, but later on, then they were on that one with Jason Bateman as well, where they go off their couples
retreat.
retreat.
No,
That's what
that's
it was.
way later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I didn't know.
Years
I guess I
after
didn't
that
realize
was a John Favreau film.
They-
I didn't- yeah.
He was in it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
he was
didn't
one
know-
of the 3.
I didn't know Favreau was in that either.
Yeah.
But in fact, I think he was just coming off Swingers when he went to.
Yes,
when
I
he went
believe
to,
you're right.
Anyway, so Pete Poswell, his character Roland, who really kind of, I like the fact that he's very into this whole, I'm going to hunt the buck. Why is my business? Leave me alone. And you just kind of, I liked that whole element to his character. And then at the end, when he gives it all up, and he's just like, I've spent enough time in the company of death because RJ didn't make it. And suddenly it dawned on me, because I realized when he gets up to walk away, he's got an earring. And I thought to myself, I wonder if he and RJ were a couple. Because RJ kind of followed him around through the whole thing like My Man Friday. He carried the gun and he did the stuff with it. But just all of a sudden it was like, that really opens up this whole new thing for his character. And I think it's really cool if that's, it's not important. It just, gave me a little extra something to like about that movie for something. But, like I said, I like the ending. Except for the fact that, so the boat's deserted. And it crashes into the dock, and we go up and we look, and there's that hand holding on to the steering wheel of the boat that's been completely severed. There's no body. It's just the hand. And it's like, how? Because there's only one dinosaur on the boat, and it's a T-Rex. There's no way he put his head inside that bridge, which is fully intact, to bite that guy and lose his hand, which is still attached to that handle.
And you can't assume...
How did it get there?
You can't... you can't assume that... Well, never mind. You have to say you can't assume it's the baby because the baby was already ahead.
Yeah, they took the baby on the plane.
Back.
Because that was my first thought. Well, maybe... Nope, they just... And so I thought about it, and it's like, all you needed to do is have the captain's body there slumped over the wheel and drop a line about he set course for the thing and they trapped it in after everybody else had. If the thing had gotten out, it killed the entire crew. They managed, Captain locked it in the thing and then died setting course for that. Okay, you have now fixed the reason that this is a ghost ship. But instead, they just find dismembered body parts all over the deck.
And the T-Rex still in the hole.
And the T-Rex still in the hole. And it's like... all of a sudden,
it starts off on a very bad sour note.
With
that.
Oh yeah, that. So
and then it goes into silliness.
Well, I like
the end starts off.
The end starts off on the silliness.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, I like whether it eats the dog. There's so many great little bits there.
Mason had never seen it.
And
Caitlin kept going, oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah, oh. And she looked at Mason and said, "Don't get too attached to the dog."
Oh, was he okay afterwards?
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
I think the only thing that really bothered him when he ripped what's his name in half.
Oh, poor Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie.
And like I said, the trailer scene's so great. You know, it's the thing. The action.
I maintain that me not being a huge fan of the film, one of the best pieces of cinematic that's ever been put on film is that trailer scene.
Yeah.
In fact, everybody was talking and chatting, and I said, "Okay, everybody has to be quiet now because this is the best." This is probably one of the best scenes in film ever. And just we were all quiet through that whole thing.
She falls and lands on the glass, and then the thing's there, and then
so
Eddie
intense.
throws in the rope, and then the trailer's moving, so he gets the winch, and he finally gets that, and then the rope comes loose, he has to go back to that, and then the car's being dragged.
That is
and when the Jeep
storytelling.
starts doing the figure eights in the mud, and then the T-Rexes show up. And okay, so now I've got a bone to pick here now. The old adage, if you're going to show a gun in Act 1, it has to be fired by Act 3. So we get this whole chunk of dialogue with Eddie on the boat talking about this gun, that he's got this super venom, and it's the blah, blah, blah venom, and it fires faster than the neurons. You know, he says, so is there an antidote? And he says, what do you mean, like if you shot yourself in the foot? Don't do that. You'd be dead before you realized you had an accident. Okay, great setup for the gun. And it never gets used.
Julianne Moore uses it.
No, because she used Roland's. Roland had a different tranquilizer dart and a different tranquilizer gun, and that's what they had, was what they were going to do with that. The one that Eddie had, he was in the Jeep with it when the T-Rexes bit the top off and everything, and he's struggling, and it's caught in the webbing, and it's bent on the thing, and then it goes over with him. Never gets used. Oh. And I thought about that, and I thought, okay, so is Spielberg being very, very clever by breaking that rule on purpose? Here's the gun, here's the description, here's everything you need to know about how this is going to work, and then you don't get to see it in action? Or did he really break a rule? Because technically he did it later to Roland. Roland's got this big, I don't know what it was, elephant gun, shotgun thing with the thing.
Well, it's because Vince Vaughn takes
the ammo out of it. So that one doesn't get to work either.
I think he's just purposely breaking the rules.
You think so?
Being clever, yeah.
Because I couldn't
trying to subvert expectations.
Yeah. I couldn't decide at that point if it was clever or not.
I always assumed that was Eddie's gun, but now you say that makes sense.
Yeah, it goes over the thing.
Well, not to mention they didn't kill it; they just put it to sleep and it trolled off into the ocean.
Yeah, and then I have problems with Julianne Moore because she sleeps downwind from animals and predators and African hunters and all this kind of stuff. She's got T-Rex blood all over her jacket and doesn't think that she's championing the olfactory capacity of the T-Rex and doesn't think about the fact that you're covered in its baby's blood.
Yeah,
they're going to track you. Get rid of the jacket.
I think that
the whole movie's flawed.
I can give him that she was so caught up in the moment because so was Vince Vaughn's character. He was because he's the conservationist. And
even Roland, who asked, "Are you injured?" And she's like, "No, it's the Rex blood. It's just not drying in the humidity." And he doesn't say anything.
well, he acts like he feels sorry for her. I mean, that was the nice thing is they tried to make him the antagonist of the film, but he almost comes out as kind of this. He's not so bad.
He's the noble guy.
Yeah, he's noble. There you go.
Yeah. That's why I like Roland. I think he's a fascinating character. More of that, less of the Weasley engine guy.
Anybody watch anything else?
I watched Road Warrior.
Oh,
Yeah, I liked it. It's what I remembered from Mad Max, the Mad Max series. I remembered most of it. Yeah, it's a really enjoyable film.
it's so good.
I have 4 episodes left of Arrow, till I'm caught up total. Yep. So good. I don't know what I'm going to do now.
I got to catch up on Gotham. That's what I've got sitting waiting to finish.
iZombie ends this week. It's been so good. I highly recommend it.
I'll need to go back and pick that one up too.
It's really good. We went to the Kansas City Zoo on Saturday.
yeah. What else?
That was fun.
Did you take? You took a Audie.
Yeah,
I saw that photo.
And, Mike and
Sarah.
The guys all running off to joining hands and running off to have the zoo, and
guys only.
left Sarah
that
behind.
was actually us walking. Have you guys been to the KC Zoo?
Years and years.
From
and years
Africa
ago.
all the way back because the wait for the tram was really long, and it's as we were leaving. So
By
we
the
were
time
all
we get on the
really
tram,
long.
we could be there by now.
Yeah. It was really hot, but we had a lot of fun. 2-week-old baby gorilla, and it was out on display.
Ooh.
It was really cute. I like apes, so that's the big highlight. They had a baby chimp too, but you couldn't really see it; they were too far away. But Mike had never been; he really enjoyed it. It was a good time. That was about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to news.
First up in news, Osgood is joining the Big Finish unit stories.
Yay!
So she's going to be part of those.
And I see that they are in studio this week. They're heading into
believe
studio
so.
this week to
Yeah.
record those. So,
Which
due
I
out
think-
in September, I think.
We speculated a bit on when these stories might have been set. I think that kind of narrows it down quite a bit.
Well, and they added artwork with her in it, and it's her with the bow tie. So if you looked at set photos, this helps you place probably where it's at before Series 9.
Before her
Demise.
Demise, yeah. Her quote-unquote death. I think it'll be a good team.
Yeah.
Have a good
I'm excited for it.
companion for Kate. Then our other bit of news, and if you're going to get to go to this, let us know, and please send us reports. There's going to be a Doctor Who festival in November in London, where you get to go inside the experience, get inside the adventure is the tagline. There's going to be meeting the cast, meeting the writers, a little bit of drama school, costumes and props, a whole big festival.
I saw something else I did this week. Go ahead.
More so than the conventions that have come before.
cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun. What else you do?
I'll get there.
Speaking of convention news, then real quick, I don't know if you have this on there. Galley announced their first wave of guests for next year.
Oh.
Now that I don't have tickets. So the standard 4 writers, as I like to think of them as the Fab Four, because they seem to be there all the time. Paul Cornell, Phil Ford, Gary Russell, and Tony Lee. India Fisher, who plays Charlie Pollard. Andy Pryor, casting director for Doctor Who since the 2005 series started. Peter Harkness, who wrote Kill the Moon. Fraser Hines. Neve
Galley
McIntosh.
regular.
Nicola Bryant. Julian Glover.
Ooh,
Cool.
that's not a very common guest.
Samuel Anderson, who played Danny Pink. And Peter Davison. So the one doctor I haven't met yet. And he's going to be there this year.
Might have to see if I can figure out how to get Danny Glover's autograph. That'd be cool.
Julian Glover.
Danny.
Not Danny.
Julian, excuse me.
I think you did that last time.
I think you're right. Julian Glover's it. But I don't know if I'd get Donovan from Last Crusade, though. I think I would do that.
You would get Donovan.
I think I'd
Donovan?
step outside of
I think
Doctor Who and get
that's a
Donovan.
safe bet, you know. Well, do you get Donovan or do you get General Veers?
Yeah,
I wouldn't get General Veers.
You wouldn't get General Veers?
No, I'm as much of a Star Wars fan as I am. I decided long ago I'm not going to get these fringe characters because Veers is small enough part.
The general, as far as
If I had him signing, if I had him signed as Donovan, and I had him signed as Jagareth,
Jaggeroff.
the
Count
Jagareth.
Scarology. Yeah.
If I had those from previous conventions, and then I showed up again in another one, then yeah, Veers would be the third in line. But no, not
You wouldn't get a
first.
Master Pycelle?
Master myself. No. Well, maybe. I think I'd get Richard III before I get General Veers.
Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets? No.
Who was he
Not
in
even-
that?
yeah.
I don't know. He's just credited here. It doesn't have his character's name.
Hold on, to the IMDb.
To the IMDb. Now, in fairness to the General Veers thing, you guys do realize, as far as filmed Star Wars goes, General Veers is the only Imperial officer to score a victory against the rebels, right?
True. It's true.
Just saying. And not just a victory,
His
but a
scene is
routing.
He's on film all of like 4 minutes total.
Oh, he's the voice of Aragog.
That's what it is, yeah.
Oh, really? I did not know that. Well, was he on the list of Doctor Who actors that appeared in Harry Potter?
I think so. I can't remember now.
I don't know, the list got really big. So. Yeah, it gets bigger, too, as they add more Doctor Who.
But yeah,
On the list of Game of Thrones actors on Doctor Who and vice versa is getting even bigger.
Yep.
I don't know if you noticed, Sean, the girl who played Shona has been in this season
played Shona.
in The Last Christmas.
Oh, no, I didn't notice.
Yeah, she's with Arya. She's the other girl.
Oh, she's the other girl.
Yeah.
Nope, didn't notice that at all.
And it took me like 2 episodes to realize who that was.
The God with many faces.
Arya's doing the worst internship ever.
Got interesting this week.
I'm still 2 behind, so
right.
I didn't get to, with everything in the basement, I didn't get to go to the thing. Yeah, no, Galley made me I knew it. I told him, I was like, maybe we should order tickets anyway, because I know that we've had McCoy, or we've had Sylvester, we've had Paul, we've had Colin. Peter's going to show up. I know he's going to show up.
They've gone chronologically, haven't they? Counted down.
Yeah, because they're back to Peter, because he was there the year before.
The year before I went.
So, and it was 8, 7, 6, not
Or even
5,
2
right?
years before I went.
Yeah, it was 8, 7, then 6 and 8.
Well, it went.
yeah.
It went 5, 8.
Well, I meant while he was
Since
7.
I've been going. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. 8, 7, 6 for you.
Yeah. But then, yeah,
And then 5.
I knew.
Well,
I knew
they didn't have a doctor last year. No, they had 6
did.
last year.
They had 6
5.
and
Yeah.
8. Because Paul and
Oh, that's
Colin
right.
were on stage together.
Paul was
Yeah.
there. I forgot about that.
But yeah, I knew it. And then they announced, they said, hey, we got our guest list. And I went, I knew Peter Davidson's going to be on this
You're
list.
holding out for 2 years when Tom's there, because they're going down.
Oh, well, then, yeah. Peter Davidson, Julian Glover, and Indy Fisher. Those were of that first wave. I was like, oh. So if you're going, say hello to them for me.
All right, let's go on to feedback.
Feedback. First up, Chrissy. She writes, The Continuing Voyages. Dear Vortex Boys, so I sat down to watch Star Trek Continues for Vortex homework, and I'm listening to Kirk's voice, and he keeps bugging me because I know I've heard that guy's voice, but his face is just not clicking with me. I finally broke down and looked up the cast list on the website, and it's totally how do you say his last name?
Magnolia, I think.
McNogna?
Magnolia. Sure.
Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist. I recently finished watching the newer version of the anime and really enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, it's worth the time. So that made me happy. Anyways, I have to praise this series for not the least of which is... Anyway, I have a lot to praise this series for. Not the least of which is how faithful it sticks to the original series' Star Trek look and feel. It could be easy to say, hey, we're going to do an updated continuation of Star Trek. And it'll be big and flashy and modern. But I like that they kept with the look with the 60s series, and besides, we already know J.J. Abrams' Flash show version. As for Colin Baker, it's awesome to see him in this production. His character is like some kind of authority figure, which is different, yet the same from the Doctor. But this minister dude is a lot more panicky and susceptible to freaking out. Kind of like a more neurotic Time Lord president. That would be an interesting twist in one of the Gallifrey audios. Really enjoyed this episode. I might follow the rest of the series because there aren't that many episodes out. and it'd be easy to catch up. Thanks for bringing it to our attention. Have a great week. You all rock. Chrissy.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Thanks, Chrissy. Up next in feedback is Holly.
Holly writes, "Hey guys. Wow, I have to say that I really enjoyed White Iris. The production quality of this was fantastic. I really enjoyed the story. More Kirk backstory is always good. The casting is fantastic, and man, the sets. You can tell a lot of love and care is going into this production. I wish Colin had been in it a little more, but I was still happy all around. I'm going to have to go back and watch the other episodes in the Star Trek Continue series. Looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts on this story. Holly from Wisconsin."
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you. And last but not least,
Last but not least is Rachel.
Rachel writes, "I expect Crocs. Hello, Vortex gang. June, one of my favorite months of the year for many reasons. And right now it's because it's finally my doctor's turn at Beyond the Doctor. First off, I have to say how well done the Star Trek Continue series is. The sets, the costumes, the special effects, even the music, all obviously done with the original series in mind the entire time. Now for White Iris specifically, the story is interesting. I have a feeling I'm missing some details with the women that Kirk kept seeing. I do plan on going back and watching the first 3 episodes, which I assume will fill in some of the gaps. As for Colin Baker's appearance, while his screen time was shorter than I would have liked when he was on, it was enjoyable to watch. Even more so if you watch the bloopers for the episode. He has a few that are especially funny. I half expected for him to be wearing his usual Crocs underneath his costume. Alas, he's wearing flip-flops, although they could be Crocs brand flip-flops. Add that to the list of questions to ask him at Time Eddie. On a related note, a happy birthday to Colin Baker on June 8th, which also happens to be the first birthday for the Five-ish fangirls. A big thanks to Glenn for joining us for part of our birthday celebration episode, now available on iTunes. Shameless plug, number 1. As Glenn knows already, we are hosting a giveaway in honor of our birthday. Details of said giveaway can be found on our blog. Shameless plug, number 2. Well, that's all I have for this week. Until next time, Rachel. That's what I did. That's what else I did.
That's what else you did.
Yep. I want to thank the girls again or the ladies again for having me on the show. Things didn't work out. We couldn't all be there, but I felt it necessary to represent, and I got there about an hour and 15 minutes late because I actually was out, I remembered it all day long, and then we were out shopping for a dress for Caitlin for something she's got next weekend, and at about 9 o'clock, I went, I'm supposed to be recording. So we hustled home, and I got on for the second half of the show. So, but congratulations again.
Yeah,
ladies.
Congratulations for a
1
year.
year. And the show actually went live today, I believe. Maybe it was Sunday. I think it was Sunday. And on their 1 year anniversary. So, and yeah, I had a lot of fun. And we
I'm
missed
sorry
you guys,
I couldn't be there.
I'm sorry I couldn't be
you
there
guys,
either.
We knew you guys had prior commitments. So
I really want to be. Could have done Sunday.
anyway, yeah, that was the other thing I did this week. So, and that was.
I look forward
it's
to
always,
going to
it's
listen
always
to the
fun.
episode.
It's always fun to hop on there and chat with the ladies. We need to have them on our show.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
should
we
totally
really
We
do.
need to have them on our show.
Well, you know what we should do is we should just all do a feedback thing and surprise them.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
We'll just,
yeah.
just, you
It
know,
won't be surprising now because they will have heard this episode.
they don't listen to us.
Here's to many more.
Yes.
Congratulations, ladies.
Well, should we talk a little bit about this week's review?
The White Iris. Captain Kirk finds himself haunted by guilt from his past as the fate of an alien world hangs in the balance.
Dun, dun, dun!
It was a lot of fun.
This was a
It
lot
was
of fun.
really good.
Now, before we get started, have you guys had a chance to watch any of the other episodes, the other 3 episodes that are on the website yet?
Nope.
Not of this series.
Same quality. Same quality. Now,
I
I've
would
only
assume-
watched the first one, but I keep meaning to go watch the next 2. But the first one is, from the get-go, it was the same caliber of quality and feel. And
As
just-
our
it's
feedbacker
so
said, it
authentic.
felt so
So
much
authentic.
like the original series.
I suppose a side note is in order, just from the... I didn't really realize how true this was until I saw an article, and I wish now I could remember where it was initially posted, but they commented that we're kind of living in the golden age of Star Trek fan productions, because there are so many of them out there. I'm familiar with Star Trek Phase 2, or Star Trek New Voyages, which is now also Star Trek New Voyages Phase 2. And what they're doing is trying to kind of pick up the mantle and make a fourth series, as if Star Trek hadn't been canceled after the third season, and kind of go from there. And they put out a few episodes, and they're quite good. I think probably on caliber with Star Trek Continues. And then they've shifted focus just a little bit, because Paramount planned on doing the Phase 2 series, and then initially scrapped it and did Star Trek the Motion Picture instead. So they've kind of picked up that idea and said, well, what if we do that? And so they kind of changed New Voyages into this Phase 2, where you get an Enterprise that's not quite the Enterprise from the motion picture, but they've got the square engines on it, but it still looks like the Enterprise from the original series. And they're doing some kind of interesting crossover.
That gap a little bit.
They've had Walter Koenig on as a guest star playing Chekhov. They've had Hikaru Sulu. They've had George Takei on playing him. They've got a lot of scripts that were written by writers of the original Star Trek series, and the sets and production values are just as high. Some of the acting can be a little off, which I kind of have a little minute bone to pick with Star Trek Continues for that same reason. But other than that, the spirit is there, the flavor is there, and it's really enjoyable. I didn't know that Star Trek Continues was a thing until just recently, and I was like, oh, there's another show out there, and I'm totally ready to get into this. And there's so many other, if you just Google, fan run Star Trek shows, I mean, they're just coming out of the woodwork now. There's a documentary that is being produced that's a faux documentary, but it's set during I think it's called the 4 Years' War between the Federation and the Klingon Empire during the initial first contact, and how badly it went. But they're doing it in that documentary style, where they're interviewing all of the starship captains that fought in the war, including Garth Vizar, who wound up in a insane asylum in the original series. But before that, he was one of the great leaders of this thing. And again, phenomenal production values. Tony Todd is in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, you got Candyman? All right. Don't say it again. So that's definitely out there. But just to throw that plug out for everybody else.
This made me want to go rewatch the original series, because it's been so long since I've watched any of them. Like I don't think I've seen all of them, but I've seen a handful here and there, some of the higher points, and it makes me want to go back and rewatch it all from the beginning, which I was kind of wanting to do after Into Darkness anyways, and never got around to it. And this kind of spurs it, gets me more of the flavor and the tone and the inspiration to watch it more.
I have them on Blu-ray if you want, but the ones that they've released on Blu-ray as the special editions are the ones that are on Netflix right now. So
that's what I'll probably do.
You can tune in that way as well.
That's what I did last year when I went through and did a rewatch. I watched it on Netflix.
Just as a side note, Rachel, since you brought it up in your feedback, you don't have to. I haven't watched the other 3 Continues episodes yet, but the women in question actually come from the original series.
They're not in the...
so I don't believe they would have tapped in. And if you're interested in the research on that, specifically, the episodes you want to look at are number 28, The City on the Edge of Forever, which is arguably one of the best. Always one of the top 10
episodes.
With Miss Edith Keeler, played by Joan Collins.
Joan Collins.
I believe probably the closest Kirk's liaison with the one that they kept mentioning, the Farragut. They've never really gone into that story too much, other than possibly number 47, Obsession, where you do learn that the Farragut crew died. And this was the thing that was responsible. And Kirk kind of goes, I'm going to go get you and all that. But they don't really give you a whole lot of backstory on it. But you could reference that one if you wanted.
I think they were able to take some liberties and poetic license with that to establish that relationship. Number
58, The Paradise Syndrome, which is where Miramani's from. Great episode where Kirk gets zapped with a beam and forgets who he is and thinks he's an Indian tribal chief living on this beautiful pastoral planet, gets married, and apparently nearly has a kid.
And
then number 76, Requiem for Methuselah, which is a great concept. Basically, the idea that all of the fantastic artists throughout Earth's history are actually the same guy who is immortal. Huh. He's that good because he's been around that long, and he's kind of changed his appearance and style to mimic or to throw people off the track. That it's not all whether it's a painting or a composer or whatever, they're all this guy. And they discover him, and he's incredibly lonely, and he has built for himself an android companion who is programmed to love him, but this way she's an android, and she will never grow old and die, as so many of the people he knows have over the years. And, of course, Kirk being Kirk, he falls in love with her and rips her away from this poor old man. So those are the ones that you may want to reference just for the sake of the story, which was incredible. And exceptionally well.
That's why we bring Sean along as the Star Trek authoritarian.
Yeah, that's pretty much my job on the show. I get to show off every once in a while.
I thought some of the casting was pretty well done. I think it was just not used to watching it, but there were times where I had to focus on, okay, who is he supposed to be? Or who, especially some of the background characters. Yeah. Like, I recognized Nurse Chapel, but it took me a few seconds for it to recognize that, oh, that's supposed to be Nurse Chapel. It's a blonde. Okay, so that's supposed to be her. And I don't know. It's just sometimes I had to stop and think, oh yeah, that's who that is. I thought the guy who did Bones had the tone of his voice was so
his tone and inflection was dead on. The look, I think, is the furthest off.
Yeah,
but his tone and inflection, I think.
See, that was going to be my complaint. Actually, was Dr. McCoy. I didn't think he had the right inflection or even spirit of he just kind of showed up, and and I understand we're recasting. Okay, I'm with you. Well, I just didn't get a Bones feel, and I really I blame the script for some of that because I feel like there were a lot of moments where they kind of pulled McCoy's teeth a little bit because he is a doctor. He is a very knowledgeable physician. Yeah. And so much of this episode he spent going, I don't know what's wrong with you. Yeah, I guess you can walk away and go back to duty. I'm not going to stop you. And even when Kirk has the attack in his quarters, it's Spock who just walked in the door that manages to catch him and goes to him. And, and McCoy's just kind of standing there with a drink in one hand and a tricorder in the other looking... Well, kind of like Tim at the end of Jurassic Park. He's kind of banging on the back of the chair going, I don't know what to do! Other than that, I thought they were very well cast.
Something led me to believe, and I may be wrong because they're not on the cast list here, but it seemed to me that there was a different actor that played McCoy, Dr. McCoy, in the first episode. But when I go to their cast list, there's no mention, so... There's a good chance that I'm incorrect on that.
New Voyages, I think, has had several different actors in each one now.
I haven't seen any of those. So when I think I remember when I watched the first episode of this, I got the same feeling with McCoy as I didn't think he was. No, it definitely was a different actor. As a matter of fact, because been two different actors. The actor looked more like DeForest Kelly, but I thought he was quite a ways off as far as carrying the character. I think Chuck Huber, who plays him now, is much more in line with the style and tone and inflection, but the look is way off for me. So, yeah, which is fine.
The other guy for the first two episodes was Larry Nemec.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Larry's he's a Star Trek writer, if I remember correctly.
He's also been in Trek Nation.
That would be why.
And
okay.
The Dawn of Wrath.
Chris Doohan, phenomenal. Really good Scotty, which of course is,
the son of
James Doohan.
Who played Scotty.
I thought the guy who played Kirk had to look a lot, but sometimes it didn't quite sound like Shatner to me.
I think he's doing a really good...
Maybe a better acting Shatner.
Well,
as much as I love Shatner.
Here's what I appreciated by this Kirk is that everybody has a stereotypical Kirk impression. That when you see the impression, you know they're doing Kirk. But when you go back and you watch Star Trek, it's nothing like what people have characterized him as.
Yeah.
People don't give William Shatner enough credit, I think, as an actor. I don't think he over-dramatized the things that I think became the caricature of Captain Kirk. But I think what he's doing is he's toned it back enough that to me, he's more Kirk than the people that do the really good Kirk impressions, or Shatner impressions.
That's what I liked about him, actually, was he wasn't trying to do a Shatner impression. It was like Chris Pine. At no point in time in the new movies did Chris Pine attempt to do Shatner. He's just playing Kirk. And I think doing it very well. And I think this guy really did a great job capturing Kirk and the essence of what this guy is without going to... And, some of the mannerisms are definitely there across the board. I was really impressed. Did you recognize Sulu?
Oh, yeah. Granty Mara.
From Mythbusters. But some of the
Sulu's
looks...
also a huge Who fan.
Yeah. Some of the looks that he had at his station when they're... and he's... oh, my God, he's doing Sulu. I mean, he just nailed it. So
the guy who plays Spock I wasn't as impressed with.
Tough shoes to fill.
Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of where I have to
fill those shoes.
Of all of the shows I've seen with all of the different Spocks, and there have been many of them out there in Star Trek timeline. It's tough shoes to fill. It's just you kind of I thought he was adequate. I didn't have any problems with him. I thought honestly I thought he was better than a lot of the other guys that have been out there. But yeah, you're right. He wasn't Leonard. or Zach either.
Yeah, I was about to say even to that extent, Zach Quinto does a better job, I think.
For those curious, they've besides Colin Baker, who will talk a little bit about his performance on the show, they've actually had Michael Dorn. I think who did a voice. Lou Ferrigno has played a character. Marco Forrest, who played Apollo in the actual episode. What was the name of that episode?
Who Mourns for Anadeus? Is that the one with Apollo?
Yeah, I believe that's right. Aaron Gray has been in the show. People know Aaron Gray from Battlestar Galactica. Diana Hale, who also was in that same original Star Trek episode. Daniel Logan, who plays young Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones. Mariana Sirtis, you would have maybe recognized in this... Marina, yes, Sirtis, that you would have recognized in the episode if you paid close attention to the computer voice.
I thought she did a really good job channeling... I just blanked on her name. Nurse Chapel.
Majel Barrett.
Yeah. For the computer voice.
Wife. And then Adrienne Wilkinson, who played... I knew I was going to come and forget. She was the gal that played Joan Collins' character in this.
Miss Keeler.
Miss Keeler. She has been in... Oh, I blinked.
Adrienne Wilkinson?
Yeah.
She was...
Yes, Who Mourns for Anadeus.
In Xena.
Yes.
Warrior Princess.
Yes.
And a voice in... And I think
Xena Warrior Princess is what I was thinking. She was a character.
Star Wars Force Unleashed. She's actually going to be at Kansas City Comic Con.
That's correct. So,
okay, so enough with those people.
yep,
Let's talk about Colin Baker.
The maybe 8 minutes he was.
I really wish he was in this more.
I did. I kept pining for him to come back. Oh, bring him back! Oh, there he is. He's on the view screen. Okay. Oh, he's gone again. Bring him back. Oh, there he is. He's on the view screen again. Oh, okay.
Clever way to jump into it, though, with the attack happening right off. I backed it up. I was like, I missed something. I blinked and Kirk's down, and what happened?
I almost thought the video. So there was something wrong with the video when it jumped forward in the play. And
yeah.
So
I watched it again and was like, no, I guess that was it. Man, I hope he's in it more than this. Got wrapped up in the story, and then they did that overhead camera shot on the view screen.
Security view, yeah.
And I was like, okay, that was really kind of a cool way of doing that, editing-wise.
Yeah.
But Colin was great. Colin fit right in with
he really
all
did.
of those. I'm going to use a mildly derogatory term. Don't panic here. Planetary weenies that Star Trek's kind of known for. The guys that show up and kind of throw some demands around, but not really. He fit right in with all these guys.
and desperately need the Federation to bail them out, and I liked that. I like that aspect. That security camera angle view that they got. Kudos to them, because even Star Trek, the original series, would be guilty of doing this. A lot of times, especially in old television, you got the same exact cuts on somebody's security view screen that you just saw in the TV show.
Because you didn't want to refilm it or put a different camera in it.
It always drives me crazy when they do this. So when I saw that, I went, oh, thank you for staying on that one camera angle like it was actually a security camera. And it was one shot the whole time. Somebody was thinking, this is going to bother somebody if we just use Couch. So I thank you guys for thinking of me in that situation.
I liked his
Doctor
little,
Who has even done that before.
I think I may dye my goatee beard blue right here in the
Just right in the middle?
just that center part.
You should.
It was a cool look. He reminded me honestly a little bit. Maybe it's the look, kind of the facial everything. But when David Ogden Stiers showed up on Next Gen,
Yeah.
kind of the same gravitas of his persona.
I would agree.
But I thoroughly enjoyed Colin. I agree with you. I wish there was more. I don't know what we could have done. As far as, because it's Kirk's story, it's not his story.
No,
but,
certainly, and he is a guest appearance. He's a guest star on the show, and even I was drooling over his performance just on the little pieces of it that we got, and it really is like 3/4 of it is the view screen. I think the one scene that they had where he was with them, he may not even been with them. They may have shot this. I didn't see the bloopers, but they may have shot this, somewhere else with his part involved, because there was always that, that change camera angle, and the regular actors could have been acting against, somebody else, and he could have been acting against somebody else, and they put it together and edited it so seamlessly that it looked great. But because all the rest of the shots were all view screen, him talking to them from the planet.
Wrath of Khan, Shatner, and Ricardo Montalban are never on set together at the same time. They did their scenes literally 2 weeks apart. Yeah. It was one acting. I think Montalban did his stuff first.
Of course, Khan's always on the other ship, and Kirk's always
Yeah.
either on his ship or down on the planet. So
No, it's reverse. Shatner, I think, did his stuff first because he was reacting to a script girl who was reading Montalban's lines. And then Montalban at least got to come in and act off of Shatner. But, yeah, never actually met on screen. I hope that's not what happened. I hope Colin at least got to hang out with the actors.
I hope so, too.
But if not, it's, once again, an impressive acting
Agreed.
job.
Oh, yeah.
So,
agreed. And probably only a day out of Colin's schedule.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, wonderful for him to come in and do something like this. I don't
so much
imagine
fun.
If they paid him, I don't imagine they paid him much, because I mean this is all not for profit. I mean they
it's for the love of the art.
exactly is what it is, because they technically can't make any money off of it because Paramount could sue them. And clearly there has been some skittish violations there because they got pulled from YouTube.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, on the actual Star Trek Continues website, they mention the fact that there was this thing where somebody at CBS had, sent the executive order and pulled it down, and apparently it was done in error.
Oh, really?
And CBS gave YouTube the go-ahead to put it back up.
Oh, true.
So it should be back up.
Good job, CBS.
Yeah, it should be back up on YouTube now.
Well, I'll tell you, I was so grateful that I if I have to, I watch things on my computer or my iPad, but I prefer to watch them on the big 50-inch TV. And because of the way this was, my Mac doesn't broadcast to either the Apple TV or the Chromecast very fluidly over my internet. So fortunately, Vimeo is actually an app on the Apple TV.
You're lucky
so I was
then.
able to go there, log in to my Vimeo account online, which is connected to my Apple TV, and watch it seamlessly like I was watching a television show.
I
It was so
downloaded
nice.
the Vimeo app on my Windows 8 computer and logged in. I saved the video, couldn't find it, couldn't search, so I just uninstalled it, went to the website.
Did you log into Vimeo?
Yeah.
You have a Vimeo account?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, because as soon as I went, because
It
I
showed
couldn't
me a bunch
find
of other stuff.
I went and searched on Vimeo on the app, but I couldn't find it. Was taking me a little while.
See a way to search.
So I just went and actually logged into Vimeo, where I had brought up the video, and then as soon as I did that, it went to my what to watch schedule or list.
Yeah,
so.
this one wasn't anyway like that. Weird.
So I'm very pleased that I'll be able to watch the two I skipped over in the same way.
I can't wait to go back, and it's. My friend Arissa has been watching Star Trek, and I keep getting weird text messages from her, mainly to the extent of, "Why did it take me so long to watch this? Oh my God, this is awesome! This is the best show ever!" And
That's reaction from a lot of people.
just really enjoying the heck out of it. And she went ahead and has moved into the movies now and stalled out on Wrath of Khan because she was like, I know how it ends and I can't do it. I'm not mentally prepared. And then I got a text message at like 4 a.m. I'm crying. Who ends a movie this way? Oh. And I said, you can go back and start it and watch watch the third movie. I did, and it opens with that funeral again. I forgot about that. But I've been telling her because she's really panicked about the tonal shift going into next gen. And I said, well, first of all, you've got Netflix. Go watch the animated series because it's all the same people.
Is it on there?
Yeah, the animated series is on
know
Netflix
that.
now.
Oh, wow.
It's all the same people doing the same stuff and, same writing staff and all
We
that
definitely
stuff.
should watch that between, I think, the series and the motion picture, in my
Oh,
opinion.
yeah. Well, I look at the animated series as season 4. I really do.
Agreed.
But then I also told her, I said, go look at some of these because they're it's continuing Star Trek. It's, maybe not exactly what the show was, but the spirit
As close
is
as you're
there.
going to get.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that so much
There's
that they
no
got it
lens-
right.
because lens flares here.
As good as the Abrams, the one Abrams film is, it's good. It's great. It's revisiting our favorite characters in a different light, but it doesn't have the flavor that these guys have put into the series. These guys are doing great, and unfortunately, it's a huge endeavor to do these because I turned you guys onto this months and months and months ago, and there are already 3 episodes out. But how many months has it been since
for this one?
This one to come out, and so it's probably a huge endeavor for them to put these out. So it's very slow going. You don't get to do you don't get a week at a time, and you don't get a drop of all of the season like you do on Netflix.
No, and even New Voyages, which has been going, I think, for something like 10 years, I think has 9 episodes out.
Yeah.
So it's a long, slow process where they, and these people have regular jobs and regular things.
They're doing
they
it
shoot
as
on a
fans,
weekend.
and I'll tell you, it's worth the wait because
Yeah.
the quality
quality
that they're
really
putting
is.
into these productions is so good.
And the visual effects are just continually blown away by how well done they are, that they're making. When they went back and did that revamp and kind of spruced up the effects, I was really skittish and nervous about it. I was like, how is this going to turn out? And they did it beautifully. They just made things look... It's still Star Trek. They just kind of polished the edges just a little bit. And all of the effects in this stuff looks like the revamped series.
That's
So
what I like
it
about
all
this is
ties in.
They haven't gone as they did with the series when they redid the special effects. They didn't push the envelope. They didn't go too far to make it
Lucasize it.
feel much different than
Yeah.
what it was. And these guys have done the same thing. They're using a lot of modern technology. They're polishing the effects, but it still has that feel that the original series had. So it's
Yeah, exceptionally well done across the board. And I hope that we get to see Colin in a little more.
I was about to say, I would like to see him do more stuff and pop up just randomly in everything.
Of course, I feel that way about all the Doctors.
Well,
yes,
true.
agree. Well, the nice thing is too, it's no wonder that Colin did this, being a fan thing, because in the wilderness years there were a lot of Doctor Who fans that were making fan films, and
even the fan audios that weren't officially...
right, and so that's the nice thing is these guys would show up from time to time in these because they really, had this passion to continue this style of storytelling. And so when we go back and review some of those things, and even though they're professional companies, BBV and Real Time Productions, those particular things that they were involved in, it shows that they have this connection to the fans of the show, and that they're willing to reach out there, because I'm sure they were making very little money doing these things. Yeah. But to be able to approach an actor that was on a television series that you absolutely loved and say, we're working on a project, very small scale, would you be involved? And they say yes. And it's like, wow. I mean, even Pertwee did that before he died. The last thing he did was act as the Doctor in the fan film that takes place between Patrick Troughton's regeneration and John Pertwee. So...
Yeah. More doctors and things.
Yes.
Yes, just more of that.
There's actually a movie, I can't remember what it's called. It has nothing to do with Doctor Who, but it has Peter Davison, Colin Baker, and Sylvester McCoy. They're all main characters in it, and I'm really excited to go look at that. That'll be a Beyond the Doctor Beyond the Doctors.
It'll be a multi-doctor Beyond the Doctor.
Yes, that's right. We'll start doing multi-Doctor Beyond the Doctors.
You sure you don't just want to do it and we'll knock all three of them out at once and call it good?
Well, we've already done 2. We got to do one. We got to do one McCoy solo project before we do anything.
Well, and then we can also go back and do the Hartnell Pertwee movie, where they were. In
yes,
the movie
yeah,
together.
Oh, yeah.
right.
That'd be fun. We'll do that.
That would be
Why
fun,
not?
Yeah. As I was talking with the girls, and they took you very seriously on locking us into 5 more years. I did point out that there's a lot of material around that could carry us for another 5 years, but I still wasn't going to lock us into 5 years. There's a lot of material out there we can do.
So, what you're saying is...
No, I'm not
5 more
saying
years.
anything.
I think he's saying that we got 6.
No.
We got 6 more years.
Well, it's funny because there's
Moffat.
definitely going to be 5 more years of Big Finish. So there's exactly 5 more years we can do beyond the stuff we still haven't caught up on. We still haven't finished all the television stories yet.
That's true.
We've still got another
we're not even
season
caught
of
up on the
Doctor
Big
Who
Finish.
coming out. I know. That's what we were just discussing that today. How we are nearly a quarter of the way
That's what you said. Next week we will be 50.
of the main line
Of the main line.
range. That doesn't count all of the seasons of Companion Chronicles, the special unit stories, Dark Eyes, for that matter, which has 4 seasons. So yeah, we've got a lot to do.
We've got a lot to do yet.
The audio visuals are still out there that were predated the Big Finish stories, and there's lots
all the novels.
all of the novels. Although I didn't tell you guys, I started Cat's Cradle this week. The first.
I saw your post.
Yeah. So, anything else you guys want to talk about Star Trek Continues or Colin Baker's performance
don't think so.
specifically?
I feel vaguely bad that we
So much
shorted
less.
him.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't mean to. Just, you know.
No,
Colin
no.
doesn't seem
if
like
anybody
he's
takes
doing
the
a lot of
blame,
stuff.
it's me. But I think the other aspect of this that I'm looking at it from we shorted Colin, but we got a lot of love for these guys doing this story because you saw the 3 gals that reviewed this. All 3 of them liked it,
Yeah.
and are wanting more. So
Yeah.
for one thing, we introduced another media or genre to the listeners.
There's a fandom.
And,
Well, I'll take credit for that all day,
Well,
every day.
I mean, even Rachel wasn't familiar, but Chrissy, she
Yeah,
just recently
she-
did
yeah.
the classic series, and I think Holly's familiar with the classic series. So, even if it didn't just introduce somebody to that fandom, it certainly brought people to another medium and brought some attention to something else that's going on. And Lovely Colin was a huge part of that. I mean, it's bringing it some them.
No, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thoroughly enjoyed Colin in this. Nothing but praise, across the board here.
And some of Colin's other works are a little harder to find too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
That was the nice thing about
was
this.
just
Is you didn't have to
right
do a
there
lot of
and ready
searching.
and
It was
available.
just there and available. So, well, that does wrap up our Beyond the Doctors for 2015. Because we have obviously con season starting and new Doctor Who starting and all kinds of other stuff. So we're going to put the brakes on this particular set of ideas until next year. And then we'll start up and we're going to completely throw you because we'll do the 7th Doctor in January. We won't wait until July. So we'll start back up then. So that gives us a good 6 months to think of what on earth could we possibly do that Sylvester McCoy has been in.
We are not doing The Hobbit.
all 3.
We are not. Sylvester McCoy is
Extended editions.
Sylvester McCoy is in The Hobbit when you count all 3
Less
films.
than Colin Baker.
Per capita.
per capita.
I don't even think that. I think he may have been in less than he was.
He had a pretty huge chunk of the first movie.
It was a lot of
Large
fun.
chunk of the first movie.
It was a lot of fun, but now that'll give us 6 months to figure something out.
Yes.
Now we've got 8 and probably 9 and probably 10 and probably 11 worked out already. So I think
We're
good
watching
Probably
the thick
12.
of it for 12, so we're good.
But
We'll have to
7 might give us
we'll
a
have to
little
censor that episode. That one's not for the kiddies.
big old flag on that. But so we hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll continue to join in for things like this. Next week, segueing into the schedule, we will finish off the 2 Doctors.
Right. Sean, what do we have coming up on the schedule?
Oh, do you feel better now?
I do.
Coming up next on the schedule, we'll finish off the Two Doctors this week for Friday Night Who with Part 3. So it'll be a lighter week. And I'm so bummed. I was really looking forward to this. I didn't realize how much I was looking forward to this until we got done in the water and everything in the base. It was like, I could blow it off. And then James showed up and it was like, now I got to find it. Okay. And then I couldn't find it. And it was like, oh no. So Part 3 this week. And then more Big Finish on the show next week. We're going to be doing Project Lazarus.
Yay.
And Arrangements for War. So it's number 45 and number 57 of the main range.
And for the record, Project Lazarus is a sequel to Project Twilight.
Yes, which is
As
number
we mentioned last
23. So you may want to,
It
refresh. I don't know that you need to, but you may want to.
I have listened to it, and I will say it has given... I had forgotten almost nearly all the events of Project Twilight.
Which is why I went and re-listened
As
to
I
it.
listened to Project Lazarus, though, I felt like, oh, okay, everything kind of came back as I listened to it. So it does a really good job of flagging back to some of the events.
So I'm doomed, and I need to go back and re-listen to it.
So I did a really good job of
I think
remembering as I went
having
through it.
listened, I listened to Project Twilight before I listened to Lazarus, and having listened to it, I think Glenn's right. Is you don't absolutely have to. There are a few. Go read the synopses and read what happens at the end of the episode.
Okay,
and to refresh yourself.
so you've already listened to
Even the end of the
Lazarus.
episode
Yeah.
came back to me immediately when we
it's
got
pretty
into the
close
story.
to,
So,
yeah.
Fun.
And it's basically two major events in that carryover.
Cool. The following week on 6/19, Christopher Eccleston, Father's Day for Friday Night Who, and then
Because that weekend is
Father's Day. So we'll be doing Great Fathers in Doctor Who. So we've got 2 weeks to send in your official ballot for who's a great father.
How about great fathers that love Doctor Who?
Well, you'd be at the top of that list.
Thanks, Sean.
Only because you've introduced your kids to it.
That's right.
See,
That's right.
I'm teaching them right off the bat.
Parenting done right.
Parenting done right.
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
And then
Great fathers and grandfathers.
Oh, wouldn't it be awesome if that was the week that we got confirmation they were bringing Susan back? That would be so cool.
Maybe that's some foreshadowing since we're the show's so serendipitous.
I'm calling it now, man.
This show drips
Claiming
of
it now.
serendipity.
Easter Saturday.
Serendipity.
That sounds like a condition. You've got a bit of serendipity there on your wall.
I like it.
He had a bunch of serendipity in his basement.
And then rounding out June, the 26th is William Hartnell in the Aztecs for Friday Night Who. And then we'll be doing a couple of Paul McGann 8th Doctor adventures, number 5, Phobos, and number 6, No More Lies.
And number 6, The Return to the Aztecs. No, I'm just kidding. There's going to be absolutely no crossover.
There's no crossover correlation. There's just we hadn't done
None
Hartnell in a while.
whatsoever.
We hadn't done the Aztecs in a while.
And I love the Aztecs.
You love the Aztecs. We needed a
Love.
you know.
I needed a reason to go purchase the special edition.
Yeah, and we needed something that we've already done a review on so that we can do audio. So it was like,
Yes.
okay, we'll do that.
And it's on Netflix, so you can easily
And
go
it's
watch
on
it.
Netflix, so it's fairly easy to obtain. So that's up for June. More stuff as we get it.
And we can't ask you enough to support us on Patreon.
Thank you so much to everybody who is and has supported us on
Yes.
Patreon. That has,
We cannot say how much it means to us.
it is a phenomenal thing that means a lot to us and enables us to do a lot of stuff, which we greatly appreciate in production with continuing on with this show.
That being said, we do need more Patreon supporters, so there might be a pledge show on the horizon. Might be one coming.
Might be one coming. I mean, we've got 5 more years to plan for, so
And the budget for.
we need a budget for it.
That's the budget. That's what I'm most worried
We're
about.
going to look ahead on like our great state and plan and budget.
Yeah.
And
Well, we're actually going to figure out how to get money.
Tax plan.
can't we just cut our expenditures
Traveling
like
the
our
budget.
state? Oh wait,
Just cut expenditures and taxes for the rich.
I tried that. It didn't work.
If you make a lot of money and you listen to this show, we're not going to ask you for any money. But if you make the bare minimum and you really can't afford it, we're going to ask you for the money.
It's the Kansas way.
That's the Kansas way.
Sorry. No. All right. No politics. Politics out of it.
And if you do make a lot of money and would like to throw some of it our way,
Yes.
we certainly wouldn't complain. You also have the option of there's a Kickstarter for Star Trek Continues. So if you want to throw some their way as well, so
Yes.
they can continue to define things,
Give them,
by all means, show some love there.
Spread the love around.
But I think that is that.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
You see you.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.